Hola, and welcome to Chats con Sabor. I'm your girl Joanna, and I'm here with my beautiful co-host Yvette.
Hello.
And on today's episode, we are talking about love.
And we want Miss Joanna to sing a little bit.
No,
She was singing earlier.
Keisha Cole, I was singing your song, but let me tell you, girl, you're the one with the talent.
So funny. Yes. So today we're talking about love. And I think I'm going to call this one, I'm going to title it, What is Love? Because I feel like so many people have such different ideas
And
about.
views.
Yeah. I don't think anybody's right or wrong, to be honest. I mean, sometimes our traumas get the better of us as we're growing up, and we throw that into what we think the idea of love is. But we're going to get into all the nuances. So I want everybody to know that this is our second to last episode for this season. We're recording it a few weeks before the season ends, but this is our second to last episode. So if you haven't caught up, we're going to be taking a break for the summer after June 1st. I think the last episode drops on June 1st. And then we'll be taking a break from posting and recording new episodes until season 3. And season 3 will drop on September 7th. So we'll be coming back, but we're going to take a break for a little bit. What do you think about this break? Is it much needed?
I am going to miss recording, of course, but we see each other all the time, and we're going to be doing things behind the scenes. So it's not technically over for the summer because we're going to be working behind the scenes. But yeah, I'm going to miss it.
I know. Okay, so let's jump right into it. Is love a feeling or a knowing? What do you think?
Ooh, girl, that was a good one.
We're jumping in.
Oh,
into the deep end.
Let's dive in. I think it could be a little bit of both, right?
Yeah.
I think love is definitely a feeling. We feel love for our families, but are we discussing relationship love, or are we talking about love in general?
I think most of us, when we talk about love, we are talking about relationship love, but we can talk about love in general too, because it's all encompassing. I feel like whatever idea somebody has about love, how you believe in love or what love should be, you carry that into all of your relationships, whether they're friendships, whether it's with your kids, whether it's, your spouse, your parents.
It transfers everywhere.
Right. So in general, do you feel like it's a feeling, or is it a knowing, or is it a learned behavior? I'll throw a third one in there.
Oh my gosh. I think it's all three of them, honestly. I mean, it's something you definitely feel, right?
Mm-hmm.
Something that you know. It's something that you're taught to.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think it's a little bit of all three.
Yeah, I agree. You said something about it being like a taught behavior, basically, or a taught emotion. I feel that when we're young, it's very important how we receive love. That actually defines us, really.
Mm-hmm.
When we're young, when we're a child, and how our parents love us defines what we know and feel about love, and how we portray love out into the world, again, in our relationships, friendships, and everything. But as a child, I feel like it's super important. Some people say, we talked about this on our Raising Children episode, where some people will say, or they have the idea that children should be nurtured, but yet sometimes with that whole tough love, like what kind of our generation grew up that way with the whole tough love and not spoiled. So nurtured, but not spoiled. Is there a fine line, or can you love a child too much?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, because then they become little entitled brats. that they think to deserve everything.
That's true. That's true.
Because I think when parents overcompensate and for whatever reason it is that they're doing, they pour so much into that child that they feel as though when they get older that they're entitled to be loved, they're entitled to get what they want, you know. And I think that's where it backfires sometimes on parents. Because whatever the trauma their parent had gone through, they're pouring all that emotion and protection and whatever it may be into that child, not knowing that it might harm them in the long run.
Yeah. Yeah. And unfortunately, like we said in that episode too, there is no manual. So there's no right or wrong answer, basically.
No.
Although we have seen the wrong way to love our children, we have seen it in adults, and how the narcissist didn't get enough love, or maybe got too much love. I don't know at this point, but serial killers, I saw something popped up, I think because we were talking about, and you'll see this on next week's episode, but we were talking about TV shows. Something with Ted Bundy actually popped up.
I'm telling you, our phones listen.
Yes.
Listen to us.
It's so annoying.
Eavesdropping.
But that's on my feed now, and it's Facebook. Facebook freaking listens. I think I have my Instagram pretty well, the algorithm pretty well defined. But anyway, it said something about serial killers and how they usually have mommy issues because
big time.
Yeah. And whether they're male or female, I mean, obviously most serial killers are males, but there have been females and maybe they didn't receive enough love from their mothers either. So yeah, it's definitely has a lot to do with how children grow up into adults. So, a question for you.
See,
you're in a relationship, in a long-term relationship. How did you know, or how do you know in general when you're in love? How did you know that you were in love?
It took me a minute to process all the different emotions because not a lot of people know, but I went from, losing my ex, which was a whole nother, trauma bond thing, to starting a relationship here in Georgia with a man that became very toxic, and then finding Kevin. So when I found him, I was like, oh no. Like, this isn't
for Kevin.
I'm not ready for all this. Yeah. And I made that clear, but thank God for his persistence because love did come along after a little while. And I wanted to be sure that, because I'm not someone that throws the love word around just to throw it around. If I love you, I love you. And because I genuinely feel that I love you. And I wanted it to be genuine, sincere, and that was the feeling I was feeling towards him. So I think the day that I realized that I truly loved him was when we separated for a little bit, and I just missed the heck out of him. And because we do so much together that, like, I kind of miss that partnership. And not kind of, I did. I missed the partnership. I missed, he's very attentive, and it was something that I didn't have in any of my relationships. And he's very caring. Like, I fell in love with his heart. I fell in love with, who he was as a man. So I knew it was real. Not only was he just, very hands-on and very genuine and very sincere, but I could feel his love for me, and I could see his heart, and his heart was love. No matter how much trauma he had in his past, but that's his story to tell, he still had space to love me. And I guess, like, all these little pieces came together, and I was like, oh my gosh, I love him.
She's like,
Mi
Wait,
corazoncito.
there's a new way that oh, how are they doing? How are they doing it? Oh my god, that the kids are
I don't
doing
know.
the
I
heart
do the
now.
Swifty.
And look at that. I have two hearts. What's the Swifty one?
No, the Swifty.
Oh, this one? Yeah,
Um,
that's the regular one. Oh, there. My black heart. Just kidding.
but anywho, that's my little love story.
Aw,
His persistent helped too. He was very persistent, let me tell you.
I love that. He has told the story before on our show that how he kind of knew right away with you. He just knew she's the one. Like
What did his story was like? The room stopped,
yeah.
and that's all I saw was her. It's so cute. If you haven't listened, you have to listen.
It's adorable. Yeah. That's kind of okay, so that's like a magical kind of love, I feel. So when you are able to put somebody else's needs above your own, and so it's not just an emotion that you feel in the moment. You get so excited. It's not just about the emotions. We don't fall into love. You should be growing into love, right? So, of course, we're humans. So we put our needs above everybody else's for when we're alone or single. But then you have children, or you meet somebody and you have children, you get married, and they become your focus
Yeah.
of
Everything
so
changes.
everything changes. So yes, I feel like it is a knowing, but it's also a feeling too. Inside when you have love for somebody, there's no question. At that point, I feel that's my take on it.
I love that.
Do you believe in love at first sight or sight unseen? Like when people fall in love, we talked about on a couple episodes ago, we talked about how is it okay for somebody to have sex on the first date if they'd already been in communication. Maybe they met online and they've been communicating, and there's a buildup to that first date. So they basically know each other, at least texting or FaceTime. Do you feel like people could fall in love that way?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
I do. Sometimes I feel like when you're talking on the phone, I know not a lot of people are going to agree with this, but especially with the online dating stuff and people meeting on gaming systems and all that crap. But it gives you the time to actually get to know a person when that's all you have is a phone, is a computer, is FaceTime, is you. I feel like you build a bigger, better bond that way.
Okay. Yeah.
Because all the physical's not in there.
Right.
So when you finally get into the physical and all, fireworks happen
Right.
and all that, it's like it kind of like syncs everything together. So I think yes, that can happen for sure. I'm a hopeless romantic anyway.
So am I. So am I. So I do believe in it too. I believe that people can fall in love. And I also believe that that's why love endures. For example, I was married to a Marine and he was deployed often. And so that feeling when we're separated, that feeling remained and the love was still there because just because we were separated for a year or two at a time doesn't mean you're not here, so I don't love you anymore. Although I do feel like that happens though sometimes too.
It does. You lose that connection.
You lose the connection, and I mean it's up to you to continue to build on the connection or continue to keep it strong. Especially in those types of situations. And let me tell you, they have said, and I believe it because I lived it, being a military wife is not easy. It's not an easy job. Not at all. There's a lot of things that go into it, and I won't get into it on this episode, but it's not for the weak of heart. Definitely. And you have to have thick skin, and you have to be independent. So there's a lot of lonely nights being a military wife.
You have to be a strong person.
Yeah.
To be able to deal with not just the military, but even like Kevin when he goes away for 5-6 months. I mean, it's hard to get on the same schedules, being able to like have conversations, sit there and be able to talk to them because while you're going to bed, he's awake working 12, 14 hours a day, you know?
Yeah.
So by the time you're up and ready to go, he's sound asleep.
Yeah.
You know, so you have to believe in in the love that you have for that person, but the love that that person has for you, and the want, and you know, the respect and everything. I think that takes a lot, and it takes a lot of strength to keep a relationship like that together.
Definitely. I 1000% agree with you. And that is beautifully said when you said that you have to believe in the love you have for that person and in the love that they have for you. That's a big part of it too. I feel like people say, well, we just grew apart. We just fell out of love. Well, okay. Sure. I believe that happens, but that's because love is a choice. You have to choose love. You have to choose happiness. You have to choose whatever it is that you're wanting to choose. If you are easily distracted when your spouse or your significant other is not around you 24/7 and you're easily distracted, then, you know, maybe you're not really in love. You're just in love with the idea of being in love, you know?
That's a big one. I think a lot of people get into relationships, which I'm probably sure you have a question on that on, is that some people get so infatuated with the idea of love that they fall in love every time they're in a relationship.
Oh, yeah.
You know, because they want it, they crave it, they need it, and they don't know what the real feeling of love is, because sometimes love can be mistaken for lust.
True. Yep. Very true.
You have to really know what love is.
And we've said it before on this podcast that you cannot love somebody more than you love yourself.
Amen, sister.
You cannot do it. So if you don't love yourself enough, it's impossible. So then I feel like then you fall into that rut of every relationship that I'm in or situationship that I'm in, I'm falling in love. You feel like you are because you're giving a lot of yourself away. But you shouldn't give yourself away, not 100% anyway. I'll just cut all.
Oh, this is going to be a blooper. Fucker.
Great job, fucker.
And there it is.
Oh my God. I forgot what I was saying, but
it was good too.
It was good. Man, that car that passed by. Oh boy.
And I got so distracted, I lost track of what you were saying.
It's me too. I lost track of what I was saying. So we're just going to move on. Oh, Lord have mercy. It was good. But anyway, you get the gist of it. Love yourself because you can't love anybody else.
It's so true. And a lot of people think that that's a myth.
Yeah.
That's not the case. But here's the reality. If you don't love yourself and you don't treat yourself well, guess what? That person is not going to love you and is not going to treat you well.
Exactly.
So it comes, not only love yourself, respect yourself, know your boundaries. I mean, do a lot of self-healing so you don't bring all that other garbage into your relationship. So you are clear-minded when you walk into something.
1000%. Very well said, Miss Joanna.
I'm on fire today.
Okay, so I want to talk a little bit about navigating truths and lies when falling in love.
Yes, ma'am.
And not just truths and lies from your partner, but also the truths and lies that you tell yourself.
Yeah.
So we'll talk a little bit about that. But also, let's throw in there too about taking our partner at their word. So, like you said, with your relationship with your current partner, you wanted to make sure that that's what you were feeling and that it was safe enough because you didn't want to say, I love you too soon. Or, you know, you just want to make sure your own feelings, you weren't lying to yourself.
Yeah, I wanted to be in check. You know, I wanted to give him good love. I didn't want to give him part-time love. I wanted to make sure that when I went into it, it was all of me. Without any conditions.
Yeah.
You know?
That's good. And not too many people can do that though, I feel like a lot of people are not at that level. They bring in past hurts and past betrayals and things like that into their own insecurities into each and every relationship. Yeah. So you're moving from relationship to relationship and you think that it's because you're not finding the right one. Well, honey, let me tell you, you have to be the right one for you and for that person too before the right one comes into your life. Yep. So if you're not doing the inner work, then you're never going to find love. I'm sorry, not true love anyway. I'm contradicting myself as far as me saying that there's no right or wrong or right. Wait, did I say that?
Wrong or right?
I swear this is my first glass.
And she's sipping, so yeah. No effects, trust me.
It's just cause 50. I'm sorry.
I'm headed there.
My brain gets
right behind you.
Jumbled up. Oh my gosh. Anyway.
Take two.
Oh my God. Carry on. So before you jump into relationships is the bottom line. You have to know yourself. You have to love yourself. And we were talking about how people don't understand. That's why they jump around from relationship to relationship, because they think that they're not finding the one. And really, they have to be the one first. So, yeah. Now, what about lies that we tell ourselves too? Because I know friends from my past too, where they were very guarded. They went through different, and they keep feeding themselves these stories that everybody is this way, but not everybody is that way. So we talk about taking our partner at their word. When does it come to a point to where you actually believe these people? Like, what has to happen within you before you can believe your partner at his word when he says he or she, they say they love you?
Whew, that's a heavy question. I'm not even going to say it's spicy because it's heavy. Because I think we all get caught up, and we've all had these things happen to us in our relationships. Definitely. Obviously. Yeah. But sometimes I feel like it starts with a little white lie, and then the little white lie, they're like, okay, so they bought that, so they move on to the second white lie, and then the third white lie. But this is where we get to the point that we have all these blinders on when people are actually showing us who they are.
Right.
And we have so much hope and so much just see the potential in that person that we start believing their lies. And when we start believing their lies, we get blinded to the truth.
Right. Even if we feel the truth inside. Like, yes. We're not listening to our intuition and our own gut feelings about that person. So we're basically lying to ourselves because we're believing the bullshit. We're swallowing the bullshit that they're feeding us.
Yeah, and I think sometimes too, to continue with that, is that we've seen past relationships with, it might have been in our personal lives or like our parents or whatever, and we don't want to be like our parents. Our parents got divorced, so I don't want to be like them. So I'm going to sit, and I was guilty of that for 15 years. I'm going to sit here and I'm going to fight tooth and nail for my relationship, for my marriage, right? Despite all the lies.
Yeah.
Despite all the red flags. I'm not going to be them. I know that this can be better.
Yeah.
And you get to the point that you're so drained when you hit rock bottom, pretty much in that relationship, is when you start putting all the puzzle pieces together. And by that time, you've already given 6 years of your life, 5 years of your life, 12 years of your life, 15 years of your life, 20 years of your life. And then you have to start all over again. I mean, but that's the truth, right?
It is. Because like I said before, we're not taught how to love. We're not taught how to put our needs first, in a relationship. We're taught to put somebody else's needs before ours, even before we love them. From the jump, we're just giving, and we're just accepting these.
I call them bad behaviors.
That's a good word for them. Bad behaviors, red flags. We can call them red flags. But Sometimes we tell ourselves, is this a pink flag? Is it?
But
It's
it's
not
so
so red.
pretty, you know?
Or he's so pretty, or
Yeah.
she's so pretty. And we just, again, we just accept this bullshit, and we start lying to ourselves, and convincing ourselves that we should stay because it's the right thing to do.
How about this? When they twist and manipulate the love that you feel for them, because I know, in my marriage, my ex knew what my beliefs were,
Mm-hmm.
my beliefs in marriage, my beliefs in relationships. And he knew that I would be forgiving because I loved our family. I loved him.
Mm-hmm.
So he would use that manipulation tactic
Against you.
to hurt me,
Yeah.
you know? And
Yeah.
I think we get so lost in wanting to make something work that we don't see the reality of it.
I agree. And then also, we said this on a different podcast episode too, where we need a good support system. So we need somebody from the outside that's not involved, that can give us a very objective perspective, because they're not involved in the relationship. But we need people to tell us, like, that's wrong. Like, they shouldn't be treating you this way. You shouldn't be putting up with this. It doesn't feel right. It doesn't sit right. And again, we get to a point where, like you said, all the blinders are up, and we've already accepted this bad behavior, and that person, our partner, is then continuing on with this bad behavior because they know that you are accepting them. You keep forgiving. We were just talking about it before we started recording, where the I'm sorries, they become null and void. I mean, they become nothing. It almost like the I love yous too.
Mm-hmm.
If you use them and use them and use them, and there's no action behind them, then they become just words. There's no meaning behind them. Relationships are always going to be compromise and give and take. But when you're constantly being a doormat and things are being done to you and you're just accepting that, that's not love. That's not love for yourself.
Mm-mm.
So, and it's definitely not love from them. So that's something that we have to be a little bit more aware of, I feel.
And to add to that side note here,
Mm-hmm.
just remember, if you have kids, your kids are watching.
Yes.
So the way you love somebody is the way they're going to love their future spouse,
Mm-hmm.
their future whatever, boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever it may be. That's how they're going to love that other person.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're okay with all that bad behavior, they're going to be okay with that bad behavior. So think before you start accepting this toxicity into your home,
Yes.
into your relationships.
Yep.
Because there's little eyes that are watching your every move. And unfortunately, it does affect them.
Yep. And it's not even just watching, it's the feeling. So I said, or I will say, we already recorded it. I'm saying this next week, okay? You're watching it after this. Then at the end of the episode, I say something about energy is my language. And so for children, it's that too.
Mm-hmm.
They're not just seeing what they're seeing, but they're also feeling that. So if there's constant tension in the home, they're feeling that too.
Yeah, they're
fear. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, those little ears and eyes and those little hearts. Do it for them if you're not going to do it for yourself.
Yeah, for sure. Agreed.
Seriously. Okay, so do you believe that we have only one soulmate or true love of our life, or multiple?
Well, I think that I had seen something a long time ago that they say that usually you have three.
Mm.
You have one when you're younger,
Mm-hmm.
then you have one like when you're in middle, like maybe college years, in your 20s or whatever. And then you have the one that is your true love, which is number three.
Mm.
And that's the person that you continue your life with and you grow with and you share life with.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought that was pretty interesting because I never looked at relationships that way. And then I started going through and I was like, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
that might be right.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So I was fortunate enough with my relationship now that is so different to the other relationships I was in my lifetime because of how caring he is, how appreciative he is, how supportive he is. Those are things that I really didn't have. And
Mm-hmm.
now I do. So I feel as though if he stays on track, no, it's a joke. It's a joke. Um, yeah, it could be possibly, it could be my forever, you know?
Yeah.
I am a little older than him, so I might go first.
Just a tiny bit older. I agree with that. And I'm hopeful now because I've already had 1 and 2. So 3.
Drum, please.
Number 3, you're out there. I know you are. Come find me, damn it.
Well, we are created in pairs, right?
Yeah.
So I think the love of your life, your true love, is definitely out there. But we also have to be patient.
Yeah.
You know, when I met Kevin, I wasn't looking for anyone. I had just gotten out of a relationship several months earlier. You know, I was like, I'm living my best life.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to be by myself. I'm going to focus on what I need to focus on and live my life, actually enjoy my life.
Yes.
And then I met Kevin. I wasn't looking for anybody. Hi, good looking. What you got cooking?
Ooh. I love that.
I was like, oh no. I'm living my best life. I'm free.
Don't be trying to tie me down, sir.
Oh, well. He wrangled me in.
Oh, Lord. That's so cute. But like we said in next week's episode,
sorry, we should have flipped those episodes.
We should have, but I have my reasons. Like we're going to say in next week's episode. Sometimes people are in your life for a season. Friendships, relationships, they're just there for a season. They're there to teach you something about yourself. People think that karmic lessons are so bad and I must have done something really bad in my life. I'm being punished now. No, you're not really being punished. That's not how it works.
You're missing the point.
You're missing the lesson. You're not learning. That's what it is. You're not being punished. It's just you're not learning the lesson. And so it's going to keep recurring. Thank you. It's going to keep recurring until you learn that lesson. So I feel like definitely we can have more than one soulmate. I even think that friendships can be your soulmate, like girlfriends, you know, for girls and guy friends for guys. People come into our lives to sometimes live life with us, but in a different way, not necessarily a romantic partner. So, but I also feel like we do have a soulmate that is out there for us that, you know, we've lived multiple lifetimes with, and they sometimes can find us in our current lifetime. So, yeah, I'm a little bit out there with my belief systems, but so it kind of, sometimes I'm a walking contradiction, but that's okay. 'Cause you know, that's me.
That's her Virgo.
It's my Virgo. Plus, I'm a hopeless romantic. So I'm like, yeah, no, that one didn't work out. Okay, well, you know what? I gave it my all and I learned these lessons from it, and let's move on. Let me take whatever I've learned, move forward, and I can apply it then to the next relationship. And I feel like that's why I've said before where I kind of feel like talking things out with somebody is really important. Sometimes it's not warranted by their behavior, but it's super important for those conversations to be had because sometimes our words resonate and their words resonate with you too. So anyway,
the C word's important. Communication.
Yes. I was gonna say what?
I was going to say, get those dirty things out of your brain, people.
Sorry.
Keyword, communication.
I'm a witch C word.
Yeah, I saw the wheels turning over here. I was like, let me say it quick.
Before I say something. Oh, Lord have mercy. I have no filter sometimes. I think we kind of covered this, but let's go and dive a little deeper with preconceived notions about what love is supposed to look like. like what we were
Like a Hallmark
raised.
movie. Liars.
It's supposed to look like. Listen, in my brain, yes, life should be a Hallmark movie because there should always be happy endings in one way or another. But no, seriously, we're Hispanic women. We are raised a certain way. And how does that play out into growing up and getting into these adult love romantic relationships?
So, girl, I should have saved it. I saw a reel the other day
Uh-huh.
that was amazing. You know how there's your parents, grandparents, whatever, have been married for 40 some years, 65 years, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So the guy was talking about this. Back in the day, the old school days, the wife was supposed to be home with the kids and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
The male controlled all the money and all that. So what was interesting about that fact is that at the end of the day, it was almost like they were being groomed to where they couldn't go anywhere.
Oh my God.
So the wife and husband, for an example, were married, and he did everything for the household. He paid for everything, he did everything. She stayed home, she took care of the kids, she did all that. It got to the point back in the day that she was so hyper dependent on her husband that made her stay, because she never had that freedom. She never had that oomph to go, because this is all she
She
knew.
knew. Yeah.
So it was almost like they were being groomed to be dependent on this man, and sometimes it was vice versa. So a lot of these, he was giving the example. I need to find this clip, but he was given the example. That's why those relationships have lasted for so long. It's not just love. Oh, grandma and grandpa have been together for 65 years because they were so in love. Grandma and grandpa were together for 65 years because
Grandma didn't know any better.
grandma didn't know any better.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Mind blown right
It
now.
blew my mind. I was
That
like,
is
holy
crazy.
crap.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So I want to say a little something about my own personal preconceived notions about love. And not necessarily about love, but more of like, I guess, independence, because it has something to do with that. Growing up as a teenager, I always had in my mind that I was going to be a single mom and that I was going to have a daughter. It was going to be me and my daughter for the rest of our lives, just us two, because that was my relationship. It was just me and my mom. All to say though that kind of conditioned me into thinking like that was what I wanted for my life. Like I had a very like strict plan. I was gonna have a baby. It was gonna be a girl. It was gonna be me and my daughter. By the time I hit 30, I was gonna be well into my career, and I was gonna buy a house at 30, and then it was just gonna be me and my daughter. And I literally had no room in my plans for a man. And then of course my life turned out completely different. But I think it's funny how we condition ourselves, or we are conditioned by what we see, and who we have to emulate, right, in our lives, for how we think that love should look like. So yeah, that's kind of weird how we go through our early stages in our life, and then something clicks and something just it turns, it just
Gives you a shockwave.
yeah, and then it kind of wakes you up. Basically, that's what happens. Is it just wakes you up, and then all of a sudden you see things very, very differently.
Well, they were also getting married at ages 14 and 15 too. So it's easier to groom a young child than it is
True. That's very, very
an
true.
adult woman, you know?
No, you're right. Oh, that does have a lot to do with it. Okay, so I have our slice of advice for today, right?
Yeah. She does.
Just want to make sure. Sorry. This is a good one. I think you're going to like it. When you love yourself, you attract better. You let the universe know that you deserve the best by treating yourself well. Everything starts with how you feel. Feel worthy, feel valuable, feel special, feel deserving of receiving the best. It will happen for you.
Oh, yeah. There you go. You just said that earlier.
Love.
Starts with you. It starts with you.
Love yourself. Love
Love
your
that.
life. So that's the little slice of advice for today. Okay, next topic. Can you love someone? Well, we already actually answered this. Can you love someone without loving yourself first? No.
No. And to the no. Oh.
Period. Point blank. No. You cannot love somebody without loving yourself first. So if you think you're broken, guess what? You are. You are. Because that's what you believe. That's the story you've been telling yourself. Okay. Yeah, you're right. You're right. I'm healed. Yeah, you're right. Whatever you put out there, whatever you believe about yourself, you're right. And you're going to start finding evidence of that in your reality. The universe is going to start showing you, yes, you are right about whatever it is. So love yourself first. Damn it.
Feed yourself good energy. Like feed yourself good thoughts every morning before
Yes.
you wake up.
Mm-hmm.
Tell yourself you're one sexy beast. You're going to be a sexy beast all day long. I mean, it's the truth. Give yourself affirmations every morning.
Can you love two people at the same time?
You know which one we need? The song we need right now? Dun dun dun
Dun,
dun.
dun, dun, dun. Yep. Uh-huh. So,
Holy shit balls.
can you love two people at the same time?
I'm not wired that way. I mean, don't get me wrong. If it's an ex or whatever, I have love and respect for them, regardless of what happened in our past situations. But to be in love with two different people, can it happen? Absolutely. Has it happened to me? Not so much.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever been in love with two people at the same time, except for, and I was thinking this as you were saying that, except for my children. I have three children, and I loved them with all of my heart, each of them. Individually, I love them, not collectively. Like they don't have three pieces of my heart. Like they each of them have my whole heart. You know what I'm saying? So I do believe that we have the capacity for massive love.
Love. Oh yeah.
Especially as women. I feel like we just have this massive capacity for love. But
most women.
have I been in love with two men at the same time? Like romantically in love with two men at the same time? No, I never have. I never have. So I don't know what that feels like. So there's people who have been in a relationship or a marriage or something and they don't want to leave their marriage. Like we've talked about this before, like open marriages and stuff. We know people who have open marriages where they are married, they do everything, their family life, everything is together, but then they have their side pieces.
That's just crazy.
It's wild to me. It's wild. I mean, I get it. It's open and, everybody knows about each other, but can you really put like all that emotion into two different people unless they're your children or your two parents? But let's be real. Most people love their mom more than they love their dad, or they love their dad more than they love their mom. You know what I'm saying? Let's be real here, Yeah, again, I love all three of my children unconditionally, and they each have my whole entire heart. And I know it sounds wild to say, but in a different way, each of them. And then my grandchildren, they have my heart too. So can you love multiple people at the same time? Yes. Can you be romantically involved with more than one person at a time? I don't know. I don't know how genuine it is. What do you think, Joe?
Kids are my world, my grandsons, my life.
Yeah.
I could not, because I would be terrified to hurt the other person. Like, I am someone that's truly very loyal, and I could not step out of my relationship, my marriage, whatever it may be. I don't have, that's not inside me. Like, that's not something in the last recording we had, I told you, like, when I see something that's wrong, it's wrong.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if I know that something like that's going to happen, I'd rather let the person go than bring that kind of pain to them.
I agree. I agree with that. Yeah, if I was ever going to think about stepping out of my marriage in that way because I wasn't happy anymore, then I would have just left sooner than what I did. And I stayed even longer than what I should have stayed. But that's neither here nor there. It's a topic for
Season
another
three.
episode. Yeah.
Season 3, baby.
But I agree with you, is what I'm saying. I don't think that it's possible for you to have feelings, authentic feelings, for more than two people. So I have a really hard time wrapping my brain around. Now, this is just how I feel. This is my perspective, right? I'm not saying it's wrong if you are in an open relationship. I get that all sorts of love exists. In my mind, though, I cannot wrap my brain around, like you said, how can you love that other person exactly the same way as you love, like, say, your husband? Or how can you say you love your husband, but yet you have all these emotions and feelings for this other person too? It's hard. It's hard for me. And I'm not chastising anybody. I'm not, pointing fingers, and I'm not trying to say you're doing it wrong. I'm just saying I have a hard time. My brain has a hard time wrapping around the idea of having more than one love of your life at a time. Can you have multiple loves of your life? Yes. Can you have them at the same time?
No.
I don't think so. And please, if I'm wrong here or we're wrong, please let us know, what you guys think. If you know of people who are actually in good relationships, open marriages, because I'm sure they're out there.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But I know that the way I think and feel is the way I think and feel.
Yeah.
And you can bring science behind whatever you want to bring. Those are my beliefs, and that's where I stand.
Well, and I think that's why I said, there's no right or wrong when it comes to the idea of love, because there's no rule book. There's no manual that says you've got to love this way, and this is what you've got to do, A, B, C, D. These are the rules that you have to follow in love. No, we make them up as we go. It's just like parenting. And just like marriage, you make them up as you go. And that's why some people have open marriages and some people have very strict monogamous marriages. And that's just what I believe. I believe in very strict monogamous marriages. This is how we feel. That's our perspective. All right, let's jump into the 5 love languages. I'm sure everybody has heard of them. I've taken the test. Have you taken the test?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So the 5 different love languages are physical touch, words of affirmation, quality time, gifts, and acts of service. Those are the 5 love languages. I personally thought that physical touch was going to be my number 1 because I'm very much a touchy-feely person with my person. With other people in general, don't touch me. Like, ew,
She doesn't like public PDA, just so you know.
I don't. I don't.
So it kills me that she says that it's
a touch here or there, like this, rubbing your arm or your leg or having your hand on your leg, whatever, that's fine. But full blown out, let's make out right here while everybody who's watching us, no. No, I cringe at shit like that. And especially when you're love bombing people.
Oh, yeah. I get what you're saying. I get what you're throwing down.
Yeah. Love bombing people in front of everybody. Like, who are you trying to convince? The world or yourself that you actually love this person? I'm sorry. Anyway, that's just me. That's how I feel about PDA. So I personally thought that physical touch was going to be my number 1 because when I'm in a relationship, I am very affectionate, super affectionate. And I want you to be affectionate with me. My favorite thing is when somebody grabs my hair and just like, that just, to me.
Anybody? Guys? She's available.
That to me is just like, no.
Anybody?
Or if I'm laying my head on his lap, or watching a movie, and he's just playing with my hair, just stroking. Oh, yeah, I'll fall asleep. Mm-hmm. Those are like affectionate touches for me, showing how you feel about me. Because words, which is weird. I don't really focus on words. But she loves
to communicate.
I love to communicate, but that's different. That doesn't mean that I'm going to believe you. If your words are saying one thing and then your actions are showing me something else, I'm going to go with your actions. That's just how I am. So anyway, I was flabbergasted when I took the test, and I had 2 that they were tied for number 1. And neither one of them was physical touch. Physical touch was 3rd or 2, however you want to look at it. 2 for number 1 were words of affirmation. Words. Okay. Words of affirmation and quality time, which I thought quality time would have been second for me and physical touch would have been first. That's what I thought. But based on the answers that I gave, because they're random questions, right? So based on those answers, that's what it was for me. Words of affirmation, quality time for number one, and then physical touch was number two. What were yours?
Acts of service, physical touch, and those I call those the important ones.
Mm-hmm.
Physical acts of service, physical touch, and what's the other?
Acts of service, physical touch, quality time,
Quality time was the other one.
and words of affirmation.
Words of affirmation was my last one.
So gifts were my last one, which is weird because I actually like to give gifts, but to receive them, I'm okay. It's neither here nor there.
Yeah, which is weird for me because I like giving gifts.
You're great. She's really great. At
I love giving, but I feel like that's part of my acts of service.
Yeah.
You know.
So, okay. So that's the thing is when you take this quiz, when you take the test, it's actually how you receive love.
Yeah, which is different.
It's different from how you give love, right? So this is how you receive it. So in my mind, I receive with physical touch, right? Of course, I was wrong. That was number two. It was physical touch, quality time, acts of service, and then words of affirmation, and then gifts. That was in my mind how I was labeling them, because they tell you, what do you think? And then you take the quiz and then it tells you what you really think without even thinking it, right? So words of affirmation and quality time, and then physical touch, and then acts of service, and then gifts was how it came out.
Yeah, but those are your love languages now, but I bet you they were different 7 years ago.
No, I took the test like almost 10 years ago.
Yeah, because so take it again.
I should take it again.
You should take it again because your love languages actually change as you get older.
I believe that. This was like 10 years ago. So this was when I was like 40, 38, 39, 40. So, but again, even back then, I thought that physical touch was going to be my number one. And it completely proved me wrong.
Yeah. So take it again.
I should.
You should take it again
and see if I'm right. No.
and see how they've changed, because mine have changed.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, I should take it again. I will take it again, and then I'll come back. I'll report back in season 3.
Yeah, because I'm telling you, it changes because of what you go through in life. It kind of adjusts you on the certain things that you need at that period in time of your life.
Yeah.
So I definitely think
makes sense.
With growth and as you get older, you start changing because of all of your experiences and things.
That totally makes sense. I'm gonna do it.
We're gonna return to this with her.
Yeah. With what okay, and again, this is how we receive love, right? So the reason we took this test, and we actually took it at work, and it was for communication. How do you receive the communication coming from that person, either with what they're doing, what they're saying, how they're acting towards you? And it was meant as a tool for us to use. I was flabbergasted. I really was, because I was like, okay, so the way I give love is with acts of service and gifts. Those are my top 2. I'm not really a physical touch type of person unless I'm drinking.
Then Happy Yvette comes out, y'all.
Happy Yvette comes out, and then I'm like, I think it's because then Happy Yvette is like, okay, somebody touch me. I mean, not in that way.
Sometimes she does it to herself. And I'm not saying like bad. I'm talking about ding, ding. Every time she goes past somebody, it's like ding, ding. Y'all have to be there for that one.
Just like, that is so funny.
But you know, it's true. That's how you laugh.
I know.
Comes the booby show.
Oh my God. I do love to show love that way too. I will go and grab your boobies.
I love you. Bing,
bing. I love you. Are they real?
Your doctor did a good job.
That is so funny.
I just wish you could see it in person. If you have, you know what I'm talking about.
if you have been a victim
of Yvette's
of Yvette's
of Happy
grabbing.
Yvette.
Of
We're gonna
Happy
call
Yvette,
her
yeah.
Happy Yvette.
Yeah. I've also grabbed some booties and bitten a few.
Yeah, true. What do they call them? Tortillas.
I love tortillas. They know who they are.
I died. I died.
Oh my goodness. Oh, all right. Oh my goodness. I'm gonna have to find this one. Okay, let me put this on pause for just a minute. Hello, this is Yvette from Chats con Sabor. I had to insert this little clip because Joanna and myself were recording earlier this evening, and there was a subtopic that I wanted to bring up that I felt was super important. But I paused our recording and was trying to look for the reel that I had saved. And I could not find it. But now she's gone and we're done recording. And as I was doing the edits, I started looking for it and I realized we ran into it, but we just bypassed it because we thought we had already touched on that subject. Anyway, I want to play it for you, although I don't have her here to get her reaction to the reel itself. I want to talk a little bit about it. So I know it's a little awkward and I'm sorry. But here we go. This is the reel that I found. Sorry, hang on just a second.
Since I keep changing. So do you think that we all have one soulmate or multiple loves of your life? This is a debate we have in my community all the time.
I love that. I think you'll fall in love with three different people in your life.
Ooh, okay.
The first is the firework. It's big, it's loud, it lights up the sky, but it fades away. The second is the candle. It's slower, it's quieter, it has a longer shelf life, but eventually you might leave it because it doesn't have the spark. And the third one is the mirror. Shows you all your flaws, shows you a reflection, and shows you who you truly are. Or the firework will probably fade itself. The candle, you might leave before it fades. And the mirror, you might think it's broken because you don't like what you see. I think we often hop and jump and skip between all three of these because it doesn't fulfill one part of us. One doesn't have the spark, one doesn't have the longevity, and one is too honest. I think I've been in love with all three in my life. What I found was that the mirror was the most powerful one because as soon as I didn't realize the mirror was broken and it was showing me exactly who I am, which is what my wife's done for me. And as long as the person holding the mirror is compassionate and empathetic and not shoving it in your face, but holding it kindly there, it can be the most beautiful relationship that you'll ever have. But I don't believe in the one soulmate that you're destined to be with because I really think that there's a soulmate for each frequency you operate at.
That was why I wanted to share it with everybody. And I felt that it was super important to bring up during this episode for that reason, because we had just talked about soulmates and we both agreed that there's not just one soulmate that we have in our lifetimes. But what he said, it resonates so much with me. I feel like because we have different stages of our lives, and how he says we're at different frequencies. But Joanna and I touched on this and we said there are, especially when we're older, there are different types of love that we need as we go through our lives. I tend to agree with him. And this is, oh my gosh, I forget his name, Jay Shetty. Follow on Instagram or on Facebook or TikTok. I think he's on TikTok as well. You will find that he spits out a lot of truth. He mentioned the mirror. And I feel like that's the most important type of love or important type of soulmate that we will meet or need in our lives. Again, it has to be somebody who is compassionate and will hold space for us to be the person that we are during that time period. But I feel that that's the most important love because they literally will show you what you need to know as far as your flaws, as far as what needs work, as far as, you know, the good inside of you. So sometimes people go through their lives and they feel like they're never going to find love because they have gone through all these hardships and relationships don't work, trauma, disloyalty, all types of things, right? Infidelity. And when we carry that forward into other relationships, we're not processing that, right? We're just hanging on to those emotions and those hurt feelings and hanging on to that trauma. And we take it into another relationship. The little kid in us, the little girl, the little boy in us, we are trying to find that person to be nurturing and loving. And the mirror will do that for us. But they will show us the truth. And sometimes, if you're not processing those emotions or those insecurities from a previous relationship, then when you look in that mirror, when that person shows you exactly what you need to see, you're not going to be ready for it. So, anyway, I feel that it was super important to add into this little part. And you know me, I'm always jumping in and out of these. But I hope you guys got as much insight out of that little reel and his words that I did. And I don't know if I did a good job explaining what I gained from that, but let's continue on with this episode. Okay, so moving on now to, we watched a movie, you and I, not together, but we told each other about it. It's called The Life List. And in that movie, the sister-in-law tells the main character, the girl who lost her mom, that when she went to talk to her mom about leaving her brother, the mom said, you need to ask yourself these 4 questions, and it's called the True Love Quiz. So the first question is, can you tell him or her everything in your heart? The second one is he kind? So I guess you need to ask yourself these questions. And then depending on those answers, whether you stay or go. Does he help you become the best version of yourself? And can you imagine him as the father of your children? When you watch the movie, did that kind of resonate with you at all?
It did.
Yeah.
It did. It makes you think like, why didn't I ask these questions before? To mentally prepare to make sure that this person is going to be
right,
the person that I'm going to spend the rest of my life with. But to answer those 4 questions, yes. And I think the biggest one would be him being the father of my child, because I know he would be an amazing dad.
Yeah.
I mean, that one stuck out the most for other reasons, but but yeah, all 4 I can see.
Those are good questions.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like they're
yeah.
And in the movie, she was trying to decide whether she was going to leave her brother. She was trying to decide what she was going to do in that moment.
But then the girl also took it. She took it at the end and to see if her current boyfriend checked all the boxes, and he didn't.
Right. And then she realized that the other love interest did.
The
check
lawyer.
Check all the boxes.
Oh, you guys have to see that.
It was such a good movie. I love the storyline. It was so great. Okay, so now, I have it. What the fuck moment?
Lord, I bet you it's a doozy.
It kind of is, and please bear with me because, you guys are gonna probably freak out. You are.
Oh God, is it one that's gonna make me?
Pretty much. Okay, so I watched a reel, and I feel like I should just play it so we can hear her. Should I play it? It's not that long, so let me see. Okay, so.
Some weird fan requests lately.
Actually, I did have someone. This is pretty normal at this point, but like I would have to like film myself going number 2, but like from the angle of it behind me, like where the toilet seat is. So I would have to like spread my cheeks, and like he wants to see the number 2 coming out, and then I have to turn around and show it in the toilet. But he would give me like $250, $350 every time I use the bathroom. So I'm like over here, like I'm going to the bathroom 3 times a day, like.
Damn, so you make 1,000 days.
Yeah, the same guy. And then I think I was too much because he's like, all right, we got to take a break. Let's go on 3 days a week. And then I was like, well, every day. So
would you go to Dubai and do it?
yeah, anyone for the Dubai money. I'll spend my whole party.
There's one dude I know that pays girls to eat their He makes you go vegan for a week before, and then he eats it while you
Does he
watch
feel
it.
like it's healthier that way?
I don't know what the concept is. I've been getting some weird fan requests lately.
Behind me.
Oh my god.
Oh, let's go vegan because then your shit will be a lot healthier.
That's the part that actually made me go, what the fuck? Because her saying that she took pictures of herself taking a shit and getting paid for this. I mean, there's some fucking wild shit out there on the internet, okay?
Look, when I do numero dos, I want to be by myself. I don't need a camera in there. I don't need any of But the vegan one got me freaking going right now.
That's what made me say, what the fuck? It was like the guy, he said, I know this one guy who he pays women to send their poop, but he makes them go vegan for a week and then he eats it. What the fuck? Why?
What is wrong with people?
I don't understand. Anyway, what the fuck?
What the fuck is right?
Ay, Dios mío. Ay, Dios mío.
Let's get back on the love subject because I'm going to toss my belly.
Yes, please. Sorry, I just had to throw that one in there because,
I knew it was going to be a doozy.
It had to be a dookie.
Doo-doo-doo.
Oh my god. Okay. All right. So here's a few facts, okay, that we came across. Did you know? There's only 4. So the first one is kisses should be longer than 6 seconds. Yes. Did you know that? There's actual scientific evidence that shows kissing longer than 6 seconds, like not just a,
No.
Actually, it increases the connection between the two people kissing.
All right.
Obviously, for me, kissing is everything. Let me just put that out there. Like kissing is
juices flowing.
Everything. Like if you are not a good kisser, 9 times out of 10, I'm not going to sleep with you because you got to know how to kiss me in order because then you won't know how to kiss me everywhere else. We're not going to know how to touch me, nothing. Anyway, but kisses should be longer than 6 seconds.
Agreed.
Mm-hmm. Number 2, hugs should be longer than 20 seconds. And you need at least 10 hugs a day to be in a healthy state of mind.
Aww.
Yeah, 10 hugs a day.
That
should be longer than 20
That would
seconds.
be difficult for me. And this is why I don't like people in my personal space. There's a selective few people that I will let hug me. And those are the people that are close to me. By the way, Yvette gives some really good hugs. Just FYI.
I love kissing and I love hugging. Like, I feel like hugs are just so special, But I'm with you. Sometimes I don't want to be touched and sometimes I'm leave me alone. But apparently, scientific facts, again, for children, especially for them to feel that connection, that bond with their mother or their father, and to be in a healthy state of mind, we need 10 hugs a day. I am lacking, let me just say, I am lacking in the hug and kiss department, okay? So...
FYI, gentlemen.
I need some loving. Just gonna throw that out there.
She's single.
Putting it out into the universe. Ay. Anyway, so the kissing and the hugging builds connection and love actually between two people. Super important. Both of them are. And then the last one is cuddling skin to skin, not only for newborns.
I love cuddles.
Okay. Cuddling skin to skin and spooning is super important. You're bonding during that time. So cuddle time after sex or before. It's super important for you to be skin to skin contact with the person that it builds that connection and the bond gets stronger. So yeah, isn't that crazy?
I agree. When I'm sleeping, I have to touch Kevin's leg.
Yeah. In some kind of way. Yeah. With your foot?
Kind of way.
Or your leg or
with
what?
My foot.
Yeah.
And then I just it helps me fall asleep. I don't know. I don't know what it is, but I have to touch him somehow.
Yeah.
Either on his back, my foot on his leg. Yeah. It's important.
Yeah, it's super important. That's why I said I always thought that my number one love language was physical touch, because again, when I'm with somebody in a relationship or, in a connection like that, building a connection, I'm very touchy feely. I'll just sit there and rub the back of their head, as we're having dinner or watching TV, and it's almost like a reflex. It's not even like something that I'm
No,
making
it's a
sure that I'm
natural
doing. It's a
thing. Yeah.
natural.
I'm the same
Yeah.
way.
Yeah. It's crazy. But anyway, I thought that was kind of cool. Um, oh God. Is being deeply in love with someone enough? So there was an IG reel that I watched. And I say, oh God, because we literally bypassed a question, or a topic, a subtopic, because I couldn't find the stupid reel.
Earn her reels, man.
Me and my reel.
That's our research.
But actually, this one I found. I love these reels that I come across. Here we go.
Thought if I was deeply in love with a person, that was enough. I look for three things, and I see this in all of my friends who have been both in relationships that have worked and ones that haven't. The ones that worked have three things. The ones that haven't always were missing one of them. Number one, you have to be deeply in love with who someone is as an individual, separate from their connection to you. Do I love who you are really deeply?
Period. Yeah.
Number two is, do I love the way you love me? Do I love the way you show up for me, the way you support me, the way you show me affection, the way you are my partner? Do I love the way you love me? And number three is, do I love the kind of life and world you are trying to create? Because for this to work, I'm going to have to create it with you. Like, someone can be incredible, but not incredible for you. Like, maybe you have number one and number two, but you don't have number three. Maybe you deeply love who they are, you love the way they love you, but the kind of world they're trying to create isn't the one you want to try and create. Even if there's something wrong with the world they're trying to create, it's just, it's not for you. It's not your dream.
It's not in alignment with your, dreams and aspirations. I thought that was super powerful. So the question to you is being deeply in love with someone enough? Or do you agree with the reel that we just listened to?
I agree with the three.
Mm-hmm. Do you think that all three need to be there? And like he said, the example of maybe you love them as the individual that they are, not just in who, in the relationship or what they bring to you. And then you also love the way they love you, but maybe they're not in alignment with your dreams and aspirations. So if one of those is not there, then is loving them enough?
That would be difficult.
Right?
It would be difficult not to have all three, because all three kind of coincide with each other.
Yeah.
That's the way I look at it. Number three, if you can't get to number three and you can't picture your life and your growth with this person, or they're not contributing something that will help with that, then that person's not for you.
Yeah, I feel like if you don't have the same goals in life, let's just give an example here. I'm single. I'm now at a point in my life where I'm not trying to climb the corporate ladder. I'm just trying to live a good life. I want to relax. I want to travel. So then I meet somebody who's, say, 10 years younger than me, and he's still climbing the corporate ladder, has big hopes and dreams, aspirations for his life. He wants to be super successful. We're not on the same path. Yeah. Because I'm going to try to be pulling you to do these like more laid back, enjoy the simple pleasures of life. I'm at a different level in my life. So I need somebody who's already at that level or higher, at my level or higher. That's not saying that it's something bad that people are trying to, build themselves up. Of course not. But I'm just not at that point in my life anymore,
Yeah.
So I don't think it would work. A relationship like that would work if we're not on the same
page. Yep.
Yeah. Same life page. So anyway, moving on. The older you get, this is a statement, and I want to know, is it true or false? Okay. The older you get, the deeper the love you need.
Yes.
In what way?
True.
In what way?
I think my relationship is kind of a good example of that, because like I mentioned earlier, a lot of what I have now, I didn't have then. So I feel that for me, being older, and being almost 50, like I think that is something that's super important for me, is loving someone deeply and them loving me deeply,
Mm-hmm.
because it kind of sets the tone for love, respect, partnership, um, just the importance of what a relationship needs,
Mm-hmm.
if that makes any sense.
It does.
So to me, I have to say true. And I feel like we love different because we know ourselves so much better.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. I think as we get older, men and women alike, we get to know ourselves more. And so we know what level of intimacy, but then also affection we need, companionship, everything that falls under the umbrella of love, right? So I definitely think that the older that we get, the deeper the level of love that we need, because you're right, we know ourselves more, meaning we love ourselves more
We love ourselves more. We know
deeply.
who we are.
Yeah.
We know what our needs are at this point in life. We're not fishing to see what sticks.
Mm-hmm.
So I think maturity has a lot to do with that.
I think that's why I have a hard time now. This is nothing to say on Joe and Kevin's
I'm
relationship.
not making faces.
No, but there's a 14-year gap.
Mhm.
So nothing to say on that. But I think this is why I have a hard time with long-term relationships when there's such a huge age gap. Whether it's the man that's older or the woman that's older, it doesn't matter. It's just the age gap there. Because I feel like we're in different levels of our lives and different stages of our lives. And like we just said, the older you get, especially if you're doing the inner work, the more you're getting to know yourself and the more you're loving yourself. So then you require deeper emotion, deeper love, deeper feelings, deeper connection, deeper everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like Kevin has an old soul.
He does. He really does. He is an old soul. In the way he thinks and the way he feels, he has a very open heart. So definitely for that generation, he stands out. The last thing I have for us is, and I think we kind of answered this already, is it best to grow into love or fall in love?
Ay, Dios mío. These tough questions.
It's about love.
Man, I think you kind of do both.
Yeah.
In a way, because when you meet somebody, you kind of have to build, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you just end up falling in love with that person.
I think for me, I have come, and maybe again, because I'm older, I now know myself and all the things that we just said a little bit ago. I feel like growing into love is more important than falling in love. Like I don't need the butterflies in my stomach. I prefer a slow burn now versus sparks from the very beginning. So, and I say this there's kind of like a fine line because
She still wants to spark.
I still want the explosive love connection and orgasm. I still want the explosiveness of the fiery spike that's still there. That's because I'm a Hispanic woman. So come on, that's still there. But at the same time, I don't want to be love bombed. I want it to be organic, but I also want it to grow at a steady pace. I want a slow burn, but I don't need it molasses type, like.
Yeah, I think when the burn is quick, I agree with you. When the burn is quick, I feel like it fizzles out a lot faster.
It burns out. Yeah. Almost like a firecracker.
Yeah.
Like it goes, and then that's it. And then you're like, that was it?
What happened?
That was it? Wait, come back.
That's why I say that people need to know the difference between love and lust.
Yeah.
Because lust is the one that brings in the firecrackers as soon as it brings in that heavy, fast burn. And
Yeah.
When you give everything all at once, then what do you have after that when it starts going out?
That's true. Then you're left with nothing. But
Yep.
All righty. I think we are now at our words of wisdom.
Oh, I have a doozy, y'all. So here it goes. Don't let getting lonely make you reconnect with toxic people.
Oof.
You shouldn't drink poison just because you're thirsty. Morgan Freeman.
Damn.
That's who quoted it. Mr. Morgan Freeman. Wise man.
Wow. You shouldn't drink poison just because you're thirsty. Damn. That resonates. I mean, on every level, though, not just with romantic relationships, even with friendships,
family.
Yeah. Like, that is crazy. I love it. I love that one.
That was good.
That was very good. So good. We love you guys. And again, next week's episode, even though we've already recorded it, is going to be the final one. So if you're watching this far, thank you so much for your support. Season 2 has been absolutely crazy, wild, and fun. And season 3, I mean, stay tuned. That's all I'm saying.
Prepare yourself, peeps.
Prepare yourself, because it's more spice, more fun, more laughs,
More special guests.
Yes, more special guests, more deep conversations, and more advice, from your girls here at Chats con Sabor.
Adios, and spread the word.
Spread the word. Yes, please. Like, share, follow, subscribe, comment.
Tell us your stories.
Please do. Don't be shy. We're out here putting our
business
out there and our stories and our lives out there. Join us. There's no judgment here. Trust me, it's a no judgment zone. We've all been there, done that. So, it is what it is. But thank you so much. We so appreciate you guys. Mwah. Adios, amigos.
Adios.